Former Canadian Prime Minister Kim Campbell has risen from the dead, and I honestly thought she was dead. She was Prime Minister when I was like, maybe 5 months old, and she only stayed there for a couple of months before she was torn to pieces by Jean Chrétien and Lucien Bouchard and Preston Manning. Tore up good and proper, ripped her up. I mean, it's the worst defeat in Canadian history, and probably in world history, probably. I mean, let me show you guys what the then Progressive Conservative Party of Canada. Let's show what their power looked like before Kim Campbell. Now, keep in mind that the Canadian electoral system is just like the British one. The more seats you win, the greater a chance that that leader becomes prime minister. And if they win the most seats, they most likely become prime minister. If they win a majority of the seats, then they definitely become prime minister. And blue represents the progressive conservatives. Let me show you how powerful the progressive conservatives were in 1984. This is going to give liberals a heart attack. If you're a liberal, I'm going to tell you right now, the following photo that you're about to see may upset you. Viewer discretion is advised. 1, 2, 3. Bang! Right there. Right there. Blue represents the conservatives. That's what they want. I mean, this is it. And this was their power. And Kim Campbell, along with the incompetence of Brian Mulroney, brought the progressive conservatives from this and this to this. 2 seats. 2 bloody seats. And it could have actually been 3 seats. But Maxime Bernier's father, Gilles Bernier, the former UN ambassador to Haiti, was denied a place in the Progressive Conservative Party by Kim Campbell. And so he is that one independent who won in both. So why am I being so hard on Miss Campbell over here? Because Kim Campbell, though clearly not being much cared for by Canadians, is now coming out from the dead criticizing conservative leader Andrew Scheer's climate plan, saying that it doesn't have a carbon tax in it, so it's a flop. That's what she said on CBC today in Ottawa. She's saying that unless you have a carbon tax, whatever you do will not help the environment unless there's a carbon tax. That's what this woman is saying. That's what she's saying. Look at her. I mean, narcissist if I haven't seen one. I don't know who's more of a narcissist. Her or the Duchess of Thoughts, Meghan Markle. Anyway, we won't even talk about that one right now. But the thing that you guys have to understand, and this is why I'm an independent, because this is not a conservative issue or a liberal issue. Because many conservatives and many are just as in a part of the agenda, the globalist agenda, the New World Order agenda, the agenda to take away more of our land and money and jobs and freedom as liberals. And she's one of them, and as is Theresa May. She was probably the Theresa May of Canada, probably worse. And you see, the Canadians couldn't stand her. They got rid of her quicker than they got rid of a rotting kidney. 2 seats that she barely won either. One was in New Brunswick, and the only reason that one was won because the woman who was running in the New Brunswick riding was the former mayor of St. John's, Elsie Wayne, and she was very popular. And the other seat was Jean Charest in Quebec. Everything else she lost. And I'm like, who, do you think anyone gives a damn about your opinion, woman? Nobody. You were humiliated in 1993. Go back under the rock where you came from. You can't even hold a husband. I mean, what wasn't she the one? I mean, wasn't she the one that the husband left her, or she left the husband, and she went off with some Polish music composer or something like that when she was prime minister? I mean, what's her problem? Nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody wants to hear from Kim Campbell. I thought she was dead. I thought she was being eaten by worms and maggots. And here she is now on CBC talking about how we need a carbon tax to fix the environment. A carbon tax would do nothing for the environment. It would actually make it worse. She was actually quite pretty back in the day, I won't lie, though. She ain't pretty now, though. But, a carbon tax, I've said this over and over again. Over and over again. It will make jobs go, it'll force jobs to go to China and the US and all those places where they'll emit even more carbon into the atmosphere because many of those other countries don't have the environmental regulations that we do. But she knows that. Oh, yeah, she knows that. And Trudeau knows it too. And Michael Chong knows it too. They all know it. Every single one of them. They're not stupid. I mean, Mac Daddy might be a little stupid, but these guys ain't stupid. They know, but this is a part of the plan. You see, she doesn't want to hear about planting more trees. She doesn't want to hear about green technology. She doesn't want to hear about replacing concrete with hempcrete, which is what I've proposed. She doesn't want to talk about ethanol. She doesn't want to talk about electric cars. She wants to talk about a carbon tax. And as long as we are paying up, she doesn't care what happens to the environment because it's all part of the agenda, making us poorer and the government richer and making us more dependent and subservient to the government because a poorer society is more willing to bow down and submit to the government. She's part of that plan. Just like Justin the tacky-headed, Mac Daddy son of Satan, quasi-Zionist, goof-loving, woman-groping Trudeau is, and Theresa May and Angela Merkel and all of them are. This is the Arana Nation.